Hello and welcome to this episode of Saved by the Belial, an atrocious Ultraman podcast, the show where we only have 3 minutes to talk about an episode of Ultraman. My name's Chris.
I'm David.
And I think there's no one else in the room today, right? Just us?
Nope, we're good.
Well, that we know of. Just mic'd up.
Yeah, hopefully not.
Well, in light of that, then, I wanted to talk about a recent development in my life.
Oh, okay.
About a very important kaiju movie I just watched.
Oh.
Much lauded. It had a little bit of a troubled production, and it made it to theaters really late.
Which one was that?
It's called The Tomorrow War.
What?
Yeah, did I watch an Amazon Prime movie before I watched King Kong versus Godzilla? I sure did.
What is this?
Yeah.
The Tomorrow War.
Basically, in this movie, Chris Pratt he plays Chris Pratt. He's pulled to the future to fight these aliens.
Okay.
And anyway, this is when I realized that, one, I'm a terrible Toku fan, and also Toku has ruined monster movies for me. Because the whole time that they're like gunning down these aliens, I was like, Ultraman would talk to this guy first.
Right.
Like, why would you shoot them? Maybe they're good people. And to be fair, well, my first thought was like Godzilla, 1998, but also 1961 and 44 all ruined.
44.
All of them ruined like monster movies for me, but they actually kind of dealt with that. My objections about just randomly killing kaiju, which I was kind of surprised by. I'd also recommend that aside from Alex and Eric, no one watch this movie.
Okay.
But also if Alex and Eric watch it, I can listen to that episode.
Okay. Then
that's also an update. I finally listened to my first Monsters vs. Men, which you can subscribe for $5 a month to their Patreon.
Was it Pacific Rim, right?
It was Pacific Rim. I switched through, and of all the non-Godzilla ones, those are the only two I haven't seen. Those are the only two that I've seen.
Yeah. Have you watched Pacific Rim: The Black?
No.
It's the anime that came out this year. It's actually really good.
Not.
It's really good.
If you asked me when it came out or if it had come out, my answer would be like the Pacific Rim anime ?
I'm just saying it's pretty good. So, but yeah, thanks for doing the introduction. I thought we should switch that up a little bit, and glad to hear that Chris Pratt is still prattling around. He's
oh my gosh.
I guess he's good for that. But today we're not going to be discussing Chris Pratt. After this, we're going to be talking about Ultraseven episodes 11 and then 13 through 20, because episode 12 decided to get itself banned from TV. So can't talk about that one. But
I had this great Pokemon joke lined up, but I'm like, I don't know the context of this one not coming out. So I'm like, is this Porygon causing seizures or something offensive? And so I can't make the joke.
Yeah.
Even though he just kind of did backwards.
Yeah. You still made the joke. So. All right. So house clean before we get into the episodes. Chris, we have a new review.
We sure do. And this one is from Gojira Master, simply titled Ultraman.
Exclamation mark.
Exclamation mark. Yeah, so they say that Godzilla and Ultraman have made a huge mark in my life, and it is so great to hear you guys pay proper respect to the mostly unknown hero known as Ultraman. Unlike other podcasts, wink wink, you guys appreciate Ultraman for what it is. You don't constantly talk about the small, mostly unnoticed flaws. You bring real subjects to the table and always treat Ultraman how it should be treated. Thank you for making an amazing podcast. P.S. Can't wait for the next episode. Well, you're in luck, because we also can't wait for the next episode.
Yeah.
And we're very happy it's amazing.
Yeah, thank you very much.
And we won't say out loud that the reason we don't point that out is because one of us is about as observant as a brick and wouldn't notice those anyway.
You know what? A brick can be observant when it needs to be, so let's not discriminate.
It's a foundational insight you just made there.
Yeah, right. Listener feedback, don't really have much this time around. Just kind of one of those things where if I just shared all of the emails about how horrible people we are, that would just be a podcast in itself. So we're just not going to do that.
Look for that bonus episode in a few weeks.
Yeah,
it's called Ultra Bad.
I just want to reiterate how much fun it was to have Kyle on for the last episode. I've been going through and editing that one just piece by piece because I want to savor it. And it's just so much fun.
Yeah, he was a blast. We've had a lot. We've been very blessed to have a lot of great people.
Yeah.
But that one kind of, every time we have someone new on, there's always maybe that underlying, like, I don't know. But
Right.
when I think that one gelled really well.
Yeah, it did. So definitely excited
Alex
for
and
that.
Eric, you're still mostly our favorites, but competition.
I know. You just you just got to switch it up a little bit, right? But
yeah, maybe it should be men versus monsters next time.
you know, they are finishing up their 21st century monster madness thing, and I am very disappointed. I haven't finished their newest episode yet, but I'm disappointed that the ritual did not make it to the finals, because that was a really good movie. I was very impressed by that. I think it should have gone farther, and I really hope they do the Meg, because the Meg is just such a fun movie.
I was also surprised by a glaring omission from the finals. It was Stephanie Meyer's the host.
Well,
Where was that?
Bong Joon-ho's the host made it. Bong Joon-ho's.
Well, that's the remake.
Oh, yeah, you're right. My bad. My bad, Chris.
Oh, man.
All right. So we're going to start here with episode 11. Chris, if you could just go ahead and get this show going.
Oh, I really will. The Showa-goa. How many times are we going to make that joke? Anyway, episode 11, Fly to Devil Mountain. As a powerful lightning storm rages, a terrifying golden dragon descends from above the clouds, seen by no one, not even the Ultra Guard's radar. Worse still, it portends of a mass dying off among young people. Though how the two are connected is unclear. As Soga and Dan hunt for radiation and other factors that could contribute to the deaths, when a camera-like weapon takes aim at Dan. Sensing the danger, Dan quickly turns and draws his weapons, but he is too late. One click, and he falls over dead.
Do you know what the monster's name is?
No.
Nurse.
Oh my gosh.
Nurse or nothing.
That's funny. No. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Such a weird monster, though. Like, is it an alien? Like, is it a robot? You know, it's like just flailing around. It reminds me a lot of Manda from Atragon, and then obviously some of the other Godzilla movies. Just no.
Yeah, it's a very like articulated robot, if anything else. I have noticed okay, I have two comments. I'll make this first one that's still related. I love all the stringedness going on in this season. Lots of like marionette aliens going on.
Oh, yeah.
So I thought that was pretty cool. But I've been really curious, this digression into like a very robot-centric series that Ultraseven is. Especially these couple episodes will have quite a few.
It's definitely playing into that sci-fi a lot more than just like your generic not generic, but yeah, I was going to say this for a later episode, but it really makes me wonder like what would have happened if this just would have remained its own show, right? Like it wasn't tied into the rest of the universe, because you can tell like they definitely wanted to make this a different show than Ultraman. And I'm not saying it's worse off for having to, you know, shoehorn it into the Ultraman universe, but yeah, there's a lot here that is just drastically different than what we got the first time around.
Yeah, well, and sometimes I don't know if you've had any reason to hear the most recent Imagine Dragons single that was just released, which is I know one of the strangest diversions. But oh man, there's so many reasons that one works. But I was just like their vocals are the same, but their sound is completely different. And this is also like their, I don't know, probably 17th album. It all sounds the same to me except for now. But I kind of appreciate when a franchise can take such diversion so quickly. Yeah. Because that if I guess you're saying they might have wanted to do a different show, but when shows can go from season 1 to season 2 with such a huge gap and let such a variety of other shows follow up the original, I love that, compared to like shows that are like seasons 1 through 10 are all the same, and then season 11 suddenly gets magic, or like Arrow when it was like Oliver was just kicking people's butt, and then he beats Damien Dark with the power of friendship or something
let's not
like
talk
that.
about Arrow. That's a soft. That's a tough spot for me. I do have to ask, do you
Oh
think
my
it's a
gosh.
little dark that they didn't even discuss that, like, they thought these people were dead? And, like, did they cremate them? Did they bury them?
There's no time in the episode. There's so much going on.
I'm just saying, like, I was a little concerned they didn't address that.
That's all right. Leave them for the vultures.
Episode 13. Well, technically, you have the odd numbers, Chris, so you're just going to go ahead and do this one, too.
Wait, so why don't you fill me and our dear listeners in? What happened? Like, I guess I could go on Ultra Wiki, but then I'd have to do something. So
yeah,
what happened?
So here's the problem with Ultra Wiki is it's not necessarily the most reliable source. I've noticed that it's probably not properly vetted the same way that like the Godzilla Wiki and stuff like that is. But if we were to go off of the wiki, it is called From a Planet with Love. And the trivia on here, which again, take it with a grain of salt. This episode was banned in Japan. That rhymed. Because it offended the Hibakusha. So those were the victims of the atomic bombings due to the design of the alien spell, which resembles an atom bomb survivor, complete with the keloid scars. The Hibakusha were subject to terrible discrimination in Japan, and the episode was regarded to be in poor taste. However, the episode was shown in the TNT English dub, and then the episode was omitted when the show was released on DVD and Blu-ray in the United States. So,
well, that's probably for the best then.
Yeah, kind of like remember when we talked about Matango? It was kind of similar to that. It did get banned, but I think it wasn't had some pushback on it because of that.
Yeah, I wonder if this was a case of like well-intentioned but just fell flat type thing. But I mean, that's if this is accurate anyway. But
yeah,
well, it's good to know. This was one of the ones I have the steelbook for. So, like I was telling you before the show, I was flipping around trying to find it, trying to figure out what the heck is going on. So
you could have asked.
Awesome. Yeah, well, I sure could have. Well, but then I was like, hey, worst case scenario, IBS for 30 minutes. No. All right. So episode 13, The Man Who Came from Kamen Rider V3. Two of you will get that. A rogue extraterrestrial ship near Earth causes space station V3 to launch a trio of fighters to intercept it. The alien craft makes quick work of two of the fighters, but the last, piloted by Captain Kurata, puts up a better fight, herding his pursuer down to Earth and draining its stores of fuel. Attempting to find Kurata, who has lost contact with the base, Furuhashi and Amagi are shot down by the camouflaged alien ship, along with Kurata, who manages to parachute to safety.
This episode has a lot of great miniature work. That is the one thing about this series in particular is they definitely lean into a lot of monster fighting with the buildings and the spaceships and everything else. And I'm just sitting here and being like, I don't care for this episode, but it's very fun to watch.
Yeah, I agree with that. Well, and I kind of noticed, I think the next two episodes will have a little more to say about the miniature work, but or at least I will. But yeah, this one definitely felt like kind of early series. Wasn't like a ton of exciting things going on. It was just kind of like happening.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Like I was sitting here and I'm like, I think if this would have been fleshed out a bit, it would have been a really interesting sci-fi movie. Right? It's just like the darker music, like it has a really interesting tone, but by and large, I don't know, it just didn't really work for me. Because I mean, even with like the monster, it's like this weird little like, I don't know how you would even explain it, like a little bat bird, penguin thing. I don't even know. Had like octopus suction cups on its head.
Yeah. I was having a hell of a time trying to Google that to get its name, but Yeah, I will give Ultraseven some credit because with the original series, I was getting a little like bored of all the. It's a lizard, but it's big. It's a big lizard. So there's been some more creative stuff here. I think when we choose our favorite kaiju design, we'll have a few like
Mm-hmm.
good choices. So I don't know. I just watched this one and it's like, yeah, it's a pretty typical sci-fi episode. Not a lot about it that's like totally Ultraman. And
Yeah.
is that really like a bad thing necessarily? It's not always fair to say like was every episode like top notch, especially
No,
in a 50
not at
episode
all.
series. But
Yeah, it's one of those things because, like, you're right. I don't think it's fair to expect like a banger every single time, but
it'd
it's
be
just one of
nice.
those things where, yeah, it would be nice, but because there are those moments where, like, you have Captain Kiriyama, like, he's willing to trust the aliens and, not attack them after giving them the fuel, right? And, like, is that
Mhm.
the best approach? Probably not, but it just shows like his code of ethics, and I can appreciate that. I like
Yeah.
that about him. Um, so there are things about this episode I like. It's just, I'll be honest, the stretch of episodes was kind of tough for me.
It was kind of nice. Like I like the human element in this show.
Mhm.
Everyone's getting fleshed out, including Dan.
Yeah,
So
especially Dan.
wow.
Episode 14, The Ultra Guard Goes West. Part 1. A slate of murders, all committed against Westerners visiting Japan. It rocks the nation. Commander Manabe calls the UG and reveals the terrible truth. Each of these disparate Westerners were, in fact, members of the TDF's clandestine science team that launched an observation rocket to... Because I guess they're going west, so I need to talk like they're going, well, that's south. Never mind. Observation rocket to the planet Payton. I'm just Pedon. The Pedon people, interpreting the rocket as an act of aggression and refusing to negotiate, have sworn retaliation and began assassinating people that could help prepare for their eventual assault.
This was such a strange like knowing King Joe from Ultraman Z. This was not what I would have expected
Mm-hmm.
from King Joe earlier.
And you can definitely see the guy in the King Joe suit.
Oh my gosh, this whole I love it. Like they switch from the really wobbly like connection little transformer bit he does when all of his pieces come together Megazord style, and then it's just like a person standing there arms out. Like it's like, oh, I see.
Oh, it's so good. It's so
And
good.
I love it because like King Joe suddenly gains like joints and ligaments after the Megazord process. That's like, it just looks like robot. And then it's like, well, where did all that body parts come from? Where were those when you were being built?
Science.
Yeah. They like connect and yeah. I just love it. Such a funny little quirk.
Did you think it was interesting at the very beginning, the guy that we eventually learned to be the spy, like you see him do the sign of the cross after the explosion or whatever, and then he goes to a Catholic church, or like, yeah, he's stalking someone outside of the Catholic church. I'm like, what's happening here?
Yeah, I don't want to be pedantic about it, but I did. I was like, where's Pre? Let's get Pre's opinion on this one.
Just have her jump on for this one. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, is my theological point that Jesus didn't die for aliens? I don't know. But
how did you feel about the inevitable twist though? About faux Dorothy?
oh gosh, yeah. Well, anytime that someone's brought in that's clearly different one way or another, I was like, new character this episode. White woman. I wonder what's going to go on that one.
Are we watching Get Out?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Collecting King Joe for customs. But yeah, I just like, I was kind of caught up more in like, it's an obvious twist. It's a kid show. It's fine. Whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I was kind of like in this concept of like well-placed assassinations to prevent what they thought was an invasion instead of like a war force. So I was like, That probably has some kind of real world analog, and I just don't know if history to know about it. But I just thought that's kind of an interesting kind of concept for the episode.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely an interesting episode. I really like this two-parter. I'm sitting here and I wish that the spy, he's reeling in the fishing rod, right? I wish he just would have been like, I finally reeled you in. But he didn't. Wasted opportunity.
Like, why would you have that prop if you weren't going to make the joke?
Yeah, I know.
That's what I say. Our viewers at home don't see all the props that I use.
Mm-mm.
But,
or even like, I lured you in, right? I mean, come on. Something.
Right. You got to do something. Yeah. It's fishy if you don't.
Mm-mm.
But
it's a bunch of carp.
Oh, gosh. So episode 15 is part 2 of the Ultra Guard Goes West. Ultraseven, though suffering heavily, manages to pull himself up to stop King Joe, who retreats to recuperate. Dorothy proposes a bomb made with a compound called Rylon 30, which can weaken the metal that composes King Joe. The resulting bomb is more than effective, freezing up the robot's joints and causing it to begin to breaking down. As the Payton put on,
I know you look at it.
There's like, you want to read it one way, it sounds better a different way. Yeah,
someone's gonna be very pedantic, like you said about it, and
yeah, honestly, we were probably both chomping at the bit to read that one, that joke. But as the aliens try to escape in a saucer, Ultraseven destroys it with his wide shot, revealing that humans can deal with their weapons now, ending the threat for now. These descriptions are slightly better written, but they still have some kind of oddities, like
I know
having now within 3 words.
Yeah. Yeah, it's I love that the monster death here, or I guess the robot death, is science. Like, here, we're gonna conveniently learn how to science this solution in like 2 minutes.
But
it's just Bill Nye couldn't even do that.
I know, man. That's not why I learned. Although, to be fair, the Ultra Guard is now on a list because they probably Googled that. And now they're being watched.
Aren't we all? Aren't we all?
Well, these days. But anyway, I did like the kind of, I mean, Ultraseven does like do the wide shot and blow up the saucer, but I did kind of appreciate the science take on the finale.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I thought that was an interesting one, because I wonder, I've been really curious to see, like, it's really curious when sci-fi like this brings in science / pseudoscience, because I don't know if this Rylon 30 is a real thing or not. You could tell me that it is. You could tell me it's on the table of, I almost said the table of contents, whatever that one is.
The periodic table.
Yeah, that one. I occasionally forget it periodically. But I just... I might have to do the show solo. I always love this pseudoscience, though.
Yeah,
that was fun. But can we talk about the little the ships in the harbor or whatever, and then like the UN fight?
Yeah, it's amazing. This is some of the best miniature work they've done so far.
Such funny senses of scale. Like, I was dying, and I almost picked for my best aim for its butthole one was when they're like slowly cropping around King Joe real slow to avoid the laser. And then Dan's sitting on the ground just shooting, like just standing there. But I had the sense of scale was so much more intimate. Like, I still got the sense of their size, but I didn't need a city scope behind it.
Yeah.
It was like those ships were such a good touch.
Oh,
I really liked it.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think my favorite part about this, apart from the miniatures, was the conversation between Faux Dorothy and Dan. You know, just this whole like peeking into someone's house and throwing stones is against the rules. Like, yes, she ended up lying, right? I mean, she wasn't being truthful about, she wasn't being truthful about upholding her end of the bargain, but she isn't wrong. I mean, we don't necessarily think about the cost of all of this progress, and I love that we have 2 stories or 2 plot lines back to back about this. It's just like, maybe we need to think about what we're doing. So I can appreciate that.
Once in a while, maybe we should.
Yeah. All right. Episode 16, The Eye That Shines in the Darkness. Cherry Blossom 9. A probe sent to study the far-off planet Anon has returned to Earth after disappearing for 3 months. Elsewhere, an oft-bullied boy named Hiroshi, oft-bullied, returns to a local playground from Mount Hades. I don't feel like that's actually the name that we saw in the show.
It's like Tolkien naming it Mount Doom. It's like, should we go to Mount Hell?
Yeah.
Maybe not.
Where he has found a strange, smooth stone. Bullies attempt to wrest the stone from him, only to suddenly double over in pain, though Hiroshi is curiously unaffected. Later, the boy drops the stone into the boiling sulfur. It recombines and forms the Saurian Anon, causing a landslide that knocks Dan and Hiroshi out.
For a boy who gets bullied, it's amazing that it's not Anon that bullies him the most. Like, if anyone's sending me like cyberbully messages, it's anonymous on Reddit or on Yahoo Answers.
But I mean, really, Anon was the most bully, like being a bully, though, you know?
Well, by virtue of using a oft-bullied child, I guess.
Yeah,
yes.
it was horrible.
But
it was like, you're not going to be strong doing this, and you made a promise, and if not, blah, blah, blah. And I mean, super manipulative, and yeah, just nothing good comes with the word Anon. I mean,
amen. That's so true.
Yeah.
I did appreciate this one. I couldn't help but compare it to that ultra weird episode, no pun intended, the ultra weird episode of Ultra Q with that boy and his growing turtle that takes him off to Imagination Land and the girl's on that swing or whatever.
Anytime you're talking about Ultra Q, that's always the episode you reference.
Or was there even anything else in the show? I don't even know, man. But I just love this. Like, I love this little escape fantasy that Toku, especially the Ultra franchise, has of like getting taken away by kaiju into fantastic lands where you're not bullied. But I wonder, I don't really have a point here, but I'm going to say this out loud and you can take it and run with it like you normally do.
Is that the subtitle of our show? We really don't have a point here.
Well, most nights. But I do have to like sympathize with any character who like they see the only chance of escape from their bullying is like kaiju or giant turtles. So I did like feel for Hiroshi here.
Oh, for sure.
So.
For sure. I mean, just any form, really any form of using some kind of violence to try to fight back. I mean, it's very tempting, right? I mean, obviously at this point, the kids weren't listening to him, you know? So of course, yeah, you're going to jump all over that. I just find it interesting that the monster almost seemed to be more powerful outside of his body, right? Just, I mean, a freaking giant eye popping up on the wall and like giving everyone headaches and stuff like that, and you know, disabling people. I'm like, just do that.
Why would you want a body?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I thought that was kind of interesting. I did want to make the comparison that you're all waiting for me to make, wherein this is like an evil version of Destroy All Monsters.
I thought you were making like a Lord of the Rings reference or something.
Oh, why would I ever do that again in the same episode? But I was just watching this. I was like, this is like the one. And then I had to like Google it because I always get those two mixed up. But I was like, a bullied kid needs a kaiju's help to not be bullied, but he turns out to be evil this time. That's bad.
You're talking about All Monsters Attack?
Dang it, I messed it up again. Wonder how many Godzilla movies I can inaccurately name in the same episode.
The sky's the limit.
Skydon. Put that in for Eric.
You mean Alex?
Alex. Dang it.
Godzilla movies.
That one was on purpose.
Previous hosts. Whatever.
Whatever. All right. Let's go. Episode 17. Underground. Go. Power Rangers.
Wait, mine says deep in the earth. Go. Yours says underground. Go. Or that's what the picture there. Oh, weird.
Yeah.
Huh. I didn't even notice that.
This isn't the first time that I've seen some of these differences. Kind of funny, but yeah. So this is, well, at least we have go in common. So after Cave-In traps the miner, the UG arrives to help local authorities rescue the man, who has been dubbed the Miracle Man, after surviving numerous numerous similar incidents. All these run-on sentences, man. The explanation jogs Dan's memory of a fateful event when he met Jiro. Dan witnessed that Jiro cut his own climbing rope to save his friend from falling with him during a previous accident.
The Jiro.
Convinced of convinced of humanity's potential for kindness and self-sacrifice by this act, the being that would be known as Ultraseven saved the man, taking on his form to experience life as a human.
That description like touches on almost 2 minutes of that episode.
Seriously. And it spends a run-on sentence to do all of it.
Yeah.
But
I remember the first time I saw this episode, I was so confused because I'm like, that's Dan, but that's not Dan. And then I realized, oh, it's Dan, air quotes.
Yeah. Yeah, I was confused for a little bit watching this one. Like, thank God we have like subtitles to tell me who's speaking or not, but
yeah,
I was a little confused. But
what did you, I mean, you knew that Ultraseven wasn't really a human. So like, how do you feel about this being the way that Ultraseven became a human? Like, how do you feel? What's your thought about it?
I liked it taking on this like dimension of like heroic sacrifice, martyrdom becomes the basis for someone, because the first one is framed as such a like just an accident. Like these two glowing orbs at a low speed chase ram into each other, and it's like, well, dang, we should probably combine. But I do like this.
Sorry
like
for killing you.
Yeah, whoops. my B. And I just like this like propensity towards optimism about humanity that the Ultra series has, and especially in this one, because I mean, I don't necessarily always share the same view, but Kamen Rider does have a lot of cynicism, so it is kind of nice seeing some of these like more. I like watching shows that like me. I like watching shows that I like the people, and like Ultraseven says like, hey, we all have the capacity for this, and so like we could all be a host for Ultraseven. Anyone can put on the mask. But I don't know, I liked it. I like this like optimistic take, and I like this kind of twist on what's I'm sure going to be kind of since I don't really know how they all interact, all the Ultras and people. So I like this one. I think this one, if this one's unique, it'll be cool. If more kind of take this, that's fine. I think it's a good idea. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that bothers me about it is no one's looking at Dan and being like, huh, you look like Jiro.
Well, true.
That, and they mentioned that Jiro fell from the mountain or whatever a few days ago, but like we were on episode 17. Like, how does that work? But
some of these are like crammed into a single day, actually.
Yeah.
He fights Mechless in the morning and then King Joe at night. I don't know.
But apart from that, yeah. It's a fun backstory, and I love the way that Dan is so resolute in saving Jiro. Like, even if it proves to be awkward. Episode 18, Escape Dimension X, or is it 10?
Oh, shoot. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, right? Ooh. It is the day of the Ultra Guard's monthly exercises.
That same dude.
Ultra calisthenics. With the theme being skydiving. Oh, man, they've got a theme. That's great. That just, every time I hear the word theme, I think of Kelly. Like, what's the theme?
Every time I think of monthly exercises, I'm like, that's so much.
I know. Everything seems to be going smoothly until Amagi and Soga disappear to a strange alternate dimension. Though they are eventually able to make contact, the two groups of Ultra Guard agents, not Matt, that's Return of Ultraman, soon discover that getting them back home may be impossible. Commander Manabe recalls a similar situation regarding an alien Bell. These alien predators used a pocket dimension to capture prey. Alien Bell, saved by the alien Bell.
Oh my gosh. If we have a podcast, we should name it after that.
Yeah, we probably should just change our name at this point.
Actually, just for this one episode, that could be funny. But I I did like this one in terms of both being horror and sci-fi a little bit. Not
Mhm.
horror in the same like kind of shocking, scary one, but in the just in the terms of like this is such an interesting like Predator-esque idea where what do you do? Like normally you're caught in a web or you're caught in a hole, but when it's a pocket dimension, there's nothing you can do about that.
No, there's not.
So
Yeah. I do have a question for you.
yeah.
Is it safe to call this specific episode Ultra Mondivision? I've been waiting all day to tell you that one.
Oh my gosh. That's good.
What's funny about this one is this is actually the episode when I first started watching Ultraseven that got me to quit. I didn't like it the first time around.
But it was so bad you quit?
It's not bad. I got burned out. And I mean, to be fair, this was, I think, right before Harlow was born too. So obviously a lot going on.
Fair.
But yeah, I just, it didn't work for me. And then now, a year later, as someone who feels like they have bugs crawling on them every second of the day, like I can now relate to this episode with all of the giant ticks.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, that is my life. So, okay, you know. I just don't recommend watching this episode with headphones. It hurt really bad.
Oh, gross.
All the bell ringing and all that.
Oh, yeah, sure.
It was not fun.
I was watching on my Xbox the way Christopher Nolan intended. I do, oh man, I do wonder because Ultraseven doesn't always seem to get like the best reviews all the time. So I guess I'm not surprised you checked out here. But what did you find like that you liked better this time? Just the franchise? Was it the show that pushed you to keep going?
Yeah, I think part of it's just the podcast pushing me to go through. But I think it's just also some of these episodes, just if they don't work for me, that's fine. It's not that they're bad necessarily. I don't know. There's just this one was a lot better this time around. But I think last time, I think I was just a little burned out, to be honest.
That's fair.
So
it is just hard to watch these series in general sometimes.
Sometimes, yeah.
Reading while you're watching, you have to be watching. So, especially a week before Global Panini comes around, I get it.
What about a Global Panini?
You can't say the word pandemic on TikTok. So
you can't?
No.
What?
It removes your video. So you say like Panini or Pumpernickel. So.
Interesting.
Yeah, it is kind of funny.
I want a Panini now. Did you ever watch the episode of Check It Out with Steve Brule where he makes a panini?
No, I've only seen as much as anyone who's seen the memes has seen.
Okay, I'll make sure to link that one in the show notes.
Okay, good. Episode 19, Project Blue. An alien craft... You got 10 seconds before copyright. An alien craft crashes through the new barrier created by the TDF's Project Blue to keep invasion fleets out. Amagi contacts UG headquarters from the moon.
Wait, is that Beyonce's kid?
Oh my gosh. Maybe. Second or third one? Yeah, Project Blue. Project Blue Knowles. So, reporting a bombing attempt from a disappearing creature. Professor Miyabe, the person in charge of Project Blue, is caught by alien Bado, self-proclaimed emperors of the universe. They last visited the solar system before any life had evolved on Earth at all, annihilating any living things that existed at the time, rendering Pluto a barren waste. Can we just say that these are the most vile enemies that we've seen in Ultraman because they've knocked Pluto off of the acronym I used to remember, the 9, now 8 planets?
I thought you were just going to say it because they remind you of butts.
Well, they certainly remind me of butts, but alien butto.
Yeah. God, we're such kids.
That's all right. That's
all right. Man. Freaking the monster, well, I guess the alien, gets thrown to his death and just like bleeds profusely from his mouth.
My God.
It's so gross.
Like, hello blood content warning on these last couple episodes, especially this one. I was like, oh my god,
Hello,
I've never seen
Ultraman
these
trigger
things.
warning.
I can't believe I missed that. I'll see myself out. Jeez, that's funny.
Yeah. What's with all
But
these?
I did find that.
Oh, go ahead.
Well, I just in general I found it interesting that these are like just genuinely bad aliens. Like
Mhm.
there's no question that they're just like out to like kill. Like somehow they got to Earth 6,000 years ago, the day before Adam and Eve, and trashed the place.
Yeah.
And but honestly, like we're so used to Ultraman saying like, oh well, talk to them,
Mhm.
you know, reason with them. They're looking for a home. They've been exploited by some company or some science thing. But these are just bad aliens. These are just bad dudes.
They're Bado.
So-
Yeah, very Bado.
Well, yeah, I was like, is that on the nose, or is that something that I just don't get? But
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, even episode 16, you know, with the eye, like they managed to resolve that one without killing each other. But yeah, these guys are just like Bado to the bone. So yeah, it's pretty
Bum,
intense.
bum, bum.
Uh,
Well, yeah.
I just have to comment on like how many white women are in Ultraseven now. It's like they've taken
It's like
over.
a veritable Instagram.
Yeah. Yeah, all these Visco girls. But
Live, laugh, ultra love.
episode title. But I do have to give, you know, a special award this time around. It's for the most over dramatic acting, and it goes to Grace because it was just so bad.
Oh my gosh. And the funny thing is I can't this is my butthole award, so I'll have to say it later. But I'm not gonna say now. We gotta save it. But I just loved like such a dark episode, and you've got that going on. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I know. It just feels like, I mean, find the most like generic horror movie woman trope, and that is Grace.
Uh-huh.
That is
Oh my
Grace.
gosh, yeah.
Last but definitely least, just kidding. Episode 20, Destroy Earthquake Epicenter X. There's a lot of X's
Or is it
here.
10?
Or 10. You're right. A pair of young women drive their car off the road when a flash of light blinds the driver. They find a beautiful and abnormally heavy pink mineral. Unfortunately, this is the precursor to a larger earthquake, one of many that have hit the area. For it to be found on the surface is a very bad sign, and the magma okay, so they spelled it magma Rizer, all as one word. Interesting. A burrowing tank is prepared. Up on the surface, Sakagi reveals himself to be the sinister Shapley, and he calls for Giradorus, his monster subordinate and the true source of the earthquakes. He was not Shaplaying around, I'll tell you that.
Oh my gosh. Every tank, every mineral digger thing is just preparing me for lizard tank, Asaurus.
Oh, you mean
coming
frog
up later
tank?
in the series.
Yeah, frog tank.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one was fine, but compared to the rest of the episodes, I was kind of feeling the same. Like, okay, well, it's a monster of the week.
Yeah,
that's okay.
It was a lot,
especially following the last one.
It was a lot of fun towards the end. Like the first, like let's say 25 minutes. The first 18, it's just kind of, and then you get to the cabin, and that's where it really starts getting good. Like I love the professor's like, Dan, answer when someone's calling you. I'm just like, it's funny. He just all of a sudden becomes very paternal regarding Anne. But yeah, it's just there's not a lot with this episode. I mean, even messaging wise, there's not a lot. I mean, the thing that stands out to me the most is when they light up Alien Shapley and then he rolls down the hill on fire as like ragdoll. Like I'll forever remember that. But
oh, sure. Yeah, I just it speaks to the show as a whole when episodes like this stand out, not for being bad, but for being like themeless.
Yeah.
Or not having much to say. And that's not because it's a particularly bad episode. I think in most like superhero shows, this would be a fine like episode. especially like I'm gonna say the A word again, like in Arrow sometimes. Just the enemy of the week just gets so boring, but you're like,
Mhm.
well, that's what has to happen when you have a 22 episode season.
Yeah.
So, but Ultraman does more often than not, in my opinion, from what I've seen, which is little, is kind of these one off episodes aren't as common, even in the long seasons. Usually more of them have something to say than not.
Yeah.
You know what I
And
mean?
no, I agree
So
with you.
I'll give the show a lot of credit for that, really.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's weird to me because I guess the writer, obviously, there's a lot there, but the director was the same as the last episode. And yeah, I mean, even with like the monsters, just there wasn't a whole lot there for me. Like
Hmm.
it was you could see in the suit like how much empty space it was, like stuff like that. I'm just like, yeah. So
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, we're little under halfway through the season. There's some really good episodes coming down the pipeline. Not
Sure.
all of them, like we said, not all of them are going to be bangers, but it's just, eh, it is what it is.
It's fine. I'll take handfuls of non bangers in a show that's mostly good.
Yeah, I will agree with that. All right, it is awards time. Everyone's favorite part, except for Chris's theological insights, because I mean, that's my favorite part. So, Chris, who gets your most beautiful kaiju award?
Yes. I so I realized like after that maybe most beautiful is the wrong way to say it. So I liked Bado's design in general the most. I thought it was kind of fun. I thought, especially for an evil, like just everything about it radiated evil. But actually, you know, when I just said like 20 minutes ago that I'm kind of bored of like big lizards,
Yes.
I kind of liked Anons this time.
Okay.
So I'm gonna throw a curveball. I'm gonna contradict myself because I can contain multitudes.
See, for me, there's a weird part of me that really liked the Muppet looking spiders from Escape Dimension X. There's just
honestly, yes,
there was
they would
just
not be out of
something
place.
really interesting about that. I've got to go with King Joe. I mean, I know it's kind of that low hanging fruit, but that's just what I got to do. So,
Bado's head is the low hanging fruit. Let the reader understand.
Monster Graveyard Award. I went with Gyaradoris in that last episode. Like, I know it's not blood that comes out, but in the very beginning, you would be forgiven for thinking it's just like blood gushing out of his head. And it's just absolutely brutal.
But it's really a heavy pink material. But I had to go with the Muppet spiders, mostly because I was so happy when they died.
They're so creepy.
That's kind of how I feel with real spiders. The only good spider's a dead one. Quote the Green Goblin. But what did you think for how in the heck did he get away with that?
I didn't actually do a transformation this time. I did it
good. You
with...
fudged too.
What's that?
You fudged too.
Oh, yeah, I fudged. So I went with Dan riding up at the end of episode 11 with the Western version of the Ultraseven theme playing.
Okay. In terms of transforming, King Joe's just cracks me up too much to not talk about. But and this is just okay. So this next one isn't really like how in the heck did he get away with it transformation? But I died during that slow motion one when Dan runs to the center of the runway to transform like really slowly. I don't know why that one just.
Are you talking about the one with the King Joe episode?
Yeah.
And it looks like he's dabbing.
Yeah, and he has to find his way right to the. There's like that circle that shows exactly where he needs to stand, and he misses it. Everything about that one just cracked me up.
Yeah,
and it wasn't a fun or an interesting one, but it was notable.
I just thought that one was funny because it's like they all drive off, and it's like, how did he convince everyone to leave him there?
Well, yeah, honestly. So maybe it was a how to get away with it.
What was your aim for its butthole award?
Okay, the overacting was a good one. I wanted to just kind of take all of that in here.
Mm-hmm.
But you did remind me of one that I heard not as a word from God, but as a word from David. And it's one that you mentioned, the answer your phone one. Looking at my call list, which is maybe very disproportionately missed calls one direction.
Did you actually call me the other night, by the way?
Yeah, I was trying to text you back, and then it started calling.
Okay.
And I was like, well, I certainly didn't mean to do that.
That's why I was confused. I'm like, why is Chris calling me at 8:11 on a Friday evening? This is very out of the ordinary.
Yeah, that's one of those things that's like when your mom calls you at 11:23 in the morning and you're like, oh, yikes.
Mm-hmm.
So
I had to go with Grace, so the professor's wife. Don't let a mouse make you feel lonely. I don't know what that's supposed to mean, but
I know what it's supposed to mean. A lot of American girls watch Disney princess movies and then spend their whole life looking for Prince Charming. So it's like a unrealistic standard for your life set by the mouse himself, Mickey.
Oh.
Yeah, I know. In context, it's hard to pick that up, but it's there.
Did you pull up your Ultraseven commentary?
Yeah, actually, I recorded it. Just so you know.
Well, I was talking about the book. I mean, it's...
Oh, no. Oh, that's funny. No. What did we think for our favorite episode?
I'll let you go.
Okay, well, I'll go.
Go.
I definitely, yeah. I mean, that seems to be the obvious one. I did like that a lot. I also just liked Project Blue, not because the episode itself was anything like spectacular, but it was like a nice change for the franchise.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna stick with Underground Go Go Go, but Project Blue is gonna be like, I think if I was already developing a top 3, at least those two.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see if something knocks it out.
Yeah, I was gonna choose the King Joe episodes because I think they're the best overall, but there's just something really special about Deep in the Earth Go 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 that I had to go with that one.
Right. That's very fair.
All right. God, I need to like shock myself every time I say that. So, Chris, I would ask you which episodes we're doing next, but I did not update the outline with the proper episodes that we are discussing.
We're just redoing this one.
Oh, we are. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, because...
Well, that'll make it easy.
That'll make it very easy. And we'll have someone to jump on while we redo this episode.
Crazy.
Yeah. Let me awkwardly pull up the show schedule so I can let everybody know which episodes we're discussing next.
Okay.
Boom.
And once you're done with that, we'll share our theological insights.
Oh, yeah. Duh. How did I miss that? Chris. Okay. So we're just going to boom.
Well, there are 2, and one is unfortunate because I've lost both the episode and the kaiju name. But you know the one where only one person can hear the voice of the kaiju speaking to him? It's just like Paul on the road to Damascus, wherein he had all of these friends with him on their way to persecute Christians, and then only he heard the word of the Lord Jesus calling out to him, knocking him off of his horse onto the ground. So of course there's that Pauline thing, but I have to go again with the low-hanging fruit. Ultraseven is a picture of Jesus. Jesus is the true and better Ultraseven, who, just as Ultraman saw humanity in its plight, Ultraseven came and took on human flesh and became Dan for our sakes. Ultraseven became Dan for us. Jesus too saw us in our plight, and he became man. And even though Ultraseven hasn't died on a cross yet, maybe, but Jesus did die on a cross for our sins. He saw us in that pit, and he rescued us from that pit. He brought us up from the abyss back to the surface, where we can be with Jesus, the true and better Ultraseven, for eternity.
Oh man, I was waiting for you to say Adon or Adon.
No, dang it.
All right, that was great. Seriously, shock myself every time I say it. That was wonderful, Chris. As always, you make my night when you do that.
All right. So for the next episode of ours, we're doing episodes 21 through 29, where, wow, this one is a personal attack. We go from Pursue the Undersea Base to The Earthling All Alone. That's my Tinder profile. My Tinder profile says Chris 28, The Earthling All Alone. Hashtag Ultraseven. Anyone who swipes on that is like, I should just marry them, right?
Yeah. You have 3 minutes to reply.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome. Yes. Man, I'm never gonna get a date from this, but it's great. Doesn't Ultraman Tinder sound like, and I know Trigger, but I mean, like, doesn't Ultraman Tinder just sound like a new gen Ultra?
If anyone's listening to this, we demand fan art.
Oh my gosh, yes. Please draw me Ultraman Tinder, whatever that entails. Fan art. That's where I get my tickets from.
Thank you for tuning in. Saved by the Belial is a proud partner of the Tokusatsu Network, the premier news website for all things Tokusatsu related. If you're enjoying our show, we humbly ask that you chant our name over at Apple Podcasts and leave a 5-star review. More important than the reviews, though, we would love to hear from you, whether it's sharing your thoughts on an episode we covered, if we made a mistake, or you really just want us to stop with all the pop culture references, which we won't. You can send us an email at atrociouspod@protonmail.com or head over to atrociouspod.com, where you'll find our contact form for listener feedback or even prayer requests. Until next time,
may Sevenger watch over you, Wyndham empower you, and King Joe bring you joy.
also, I have to say, it was cool to see that he finally installed his, Find My Ultra Eye, because it saved his turkey.
Oh my gosh.
Get it? Because the robots were gobbling.
Oh my.
I'm not leaving that one in, but I had to tell you that.
Oh, put it after the credits.